All glories to Mother Ritasha. All glories to the religion of love. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to our Supreme Lord. O Lord God, please help us live out these teachings to be an example of love in the world. Jai. Okay, continuing on our series of classes from the various scriptures, from verses Mother Ritasha herself gave class on to us. Today we're hearing from, again, the Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 11, Shlok 55. Mat karma krin mat paramo mad bhaktaha sangavajitaha nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu yaha samam eti pandava. My dear Arjun, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. Jai. Very nice. So, I have prepared my notes from Mother Ritasha's class on this verse, and I've also incorporated some notes from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is again the translator of this most excellent English edition of the Bhagavad-Gita As It Is. And Prabhupada says, anyone who wants to approach the Supreme Lord and be intimately connected with Him must take this formula. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. The Bhagavad-Gita is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature and who do not know of the real spiritual life. The Bhagavad-Gita is meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality, and to teach one how to go back home, back to Godhead. This verse clearly explains the process by which one can attain success in his spiritual activity. Devotional service. So, we can be assured that God loves us. Hence why He gives us all of this wonderful instruction. And what Prabhupada just said of the Bhagavad Gita is true for all scripture. It's all meant to help us come again to our eternal relationship of love with God. So, this is the essence of the Bhagavad Gita right here. If you could just live out this one verse. So, my dear Arjun, and remember Arjun is the dearmost devotee of the Lord, who is surrendered unto the Lord, inquiring submissively, wishing to serve and please the Lord. My dear Arjun, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service. So, he who engages in devotional service, any of 9 processes, there are 9 forms of devotional service. And Prabhupada says, as indicated by the word mad bhaktaha, he fully engages. He does it. Engages in devotional service, specifically in the 9 processes of devotional engagement, which are hearing, chanting, remembering. You've heard me share these 3 many times, and these are the 3 taught in the Religion of Love book. And there are 6 more. Worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with Him, and surrendering everything to Him. One can engage in all 9 devotional processes, or 8, or 7, or at least in one. and that will surely make one perfect. So let me explain all of those. We know about hearing. Hearing doesn't just mean reading or listening to God's message, but doing it. One who is called comes. So hearing means to act, to obey and follow what is taught in the scriptures. And chanting we know is chanting the holy names of God. And Mother Atasha, she said, the way to get better at chanting, and all the sages and rishis, etc., all say the same thing, you just keep doing it. More and more and more. Keep chanting, keep chanting, keep chanting. And then remembering God, which is not, pasting something on, but it's experiencing again that remembrance. It's not just, I remember. No, it's an experience that's awakened in your heart, and it comes about through the proper mood, a mood of loving service that gradually awakens in the heart of the devotee by this purifying processes of devotional service. The next one is, or the fourth one is worshiping the Lord. And this is particularly referring to scriptural references of worship explained in the scriptures, such as worshiping the Archa Vigraha, Arti, things like that. There's elaborately described methods of worship that the devotees are meant to abide by. In the Old Testament, there's also given elaborate instructions of worship, to do in the temple. The fifth one, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. This is a very, what's the word? This is a very special one. Serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Having that mood where you literally want to serve the feet of God. And people meditate on the Lord's feet. It's very lovely. 5, 6, offering prayers. So, we know of prayer, right? But offering prayers, as it says here, one of the 6 is the 6th of the 9 processes of devotional service, is a type of prayer where you're offering for the Lord's pleasure, where you're giving a beautiful summation, or you're eloquating the various glories of the Lord, extolling all His greatness. Oh, the most beloved, oh, the Creator, oh, the first, the primeval Lord, oh, saying all these wonderful things. If you've read the scriptures and you've heard great saints and sages, and they speak these beautiful prayers for extolling God's glories, that's the type of offering prayers, where the prayer is not asking something for yourself, give me this, give me that. The prayer is to glorify God, to please God. Or in street terms, throwing mad props to the Lord, And the 7th, carrying out the orders of the Lord. And this also extends to carrying out the orders of the spiritual master, who is the representative of God in this world. So when the spiritual master gives an instruction unto a disciple, inherent in the instruction is the ability invested into the disciple to fulfill it. And the sincere, surrendered disciple who carries out those instructions faithfully is purified and pleases the Lord. 8, making friends with God, maintaining friendship. And that again is a mood where you see the Lord as your best friend, your best well-wisher, and you know in your heart of hearts that the Lord will never abandon you, and you speak with the Lord as your dearmost friend. Of course, He is God. We don't want to be too informal, but some great lovers of God who are beyond material consciousness are quite informal and casual with the Lord, and the Lord actually enjoys this intimate relationship more than the mood of reverence, actually. This intimate, loving, very close relationship. So maintaining friendship. And the ninth, surrendering everything, is a form of devotional service. Everything. The devotee doesn't see anything belonging to him. His clothes, his belongings, they all belong to God. Everything is yours, God. Everything is for your pleasure. How may I employ it in your service and the service of your servants? So these are the 9 processes of devotional service. And their scope, is pretty variegated. You can employ these 9 processes in just about every facet of your day if your consciousness is so molded in that mood of loving service, guided by knowledge, of course, and your sincere desire to come again to God. So hearing, chanting, remembering is the foundation, the cornerstone of all of these, because without a little hearing, a little chanting, it's difficult to come to practice any of the forms of devotional service. So hearing is the first and most important step. You have to hear, you have to get some knowledge of God and your relationship with God, including of devotional service. And then, of course, chanting. Without chanting, nothing is possible without chanting the holy names in this age. So, and he says, one who is engaged in my pure devotional service. He didn't just say devotional, he says pure devotional service. So, what makes the service pure is that it's not some for God and some for me, thinking to please your own self, but all is for God. Everything you do, the results completely offered unto God. Now, we don't start out in pure service, mind you. Who does? In fact, very, very few ever even reach that platform. But our goal is to be one of those few. If we desire it, and we try, God gives grace, the ability to do it. And as we progress, we become more and more attracted to God. You see, we are all pleasure seekers, always trying to satisfy our senses, to enjoy things in this world, to enjoy life. And God himself is the reservoir of all pleasure. One who has God has everything, lacks nothing. So, pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of previous activities and from mental speculation. So, previous activities, activities before coming to spiritual life, mainly speaking of fruitive activities, the contamination of material consciousness, giving with the intention to get back. This makes us dirty, our consciousness covered over, and we suffer. And to help us give up fruitive activities or fruitive propensities, that selfish, always giving to the getting, giving for the getting, it'd be wise not to associate with fruitive people, because association always has an effect. That's why devotees are instructed to mainly keep association with other devotees, but very difficult in this day and age because devotees are few and far between. And it doesn't mean, of course, in this teaching that someone who's not engaged in devotional service is bad. They're bad people. Don't hang out with them. That's not the teaching. The teaching is, whomever you associate with, you become more like. That's the teaching. You associate with thieves, eventually you'll steal. You associate with business-minded money men, you'll have mind on your money and money on your mind. So this is the effect of association. You hang out with devotees, you might hear about God's pastimes and holy names and all these wonderful things of devotional service. So association always has an effect. So for one who sincerely wants to live out this teaching, this verse of the essence of Bhagavad Gita, it would be wise to try to associate more in a manner that brings this goal closer to manifesting. Because everything we associate with has an effect. And Prabhupada himself says the term Sanghavarjitaha, in the Sanskrit in this verse, is very significant. One should disassociate himself from persons who are against God. Not only are the atheistic persons against God, but also those who are attracted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. So, again, they're not bad people, no. In fact, bad and good, these are terms of duality. But saying that one's consciousness, the things that they're working for, their activities they're engaging in, all of that which is coming from their consciousness, that energy has an effect on all around. Just as my energy, my thoughts, your consciousness, all of us, we're not some isolated things. We're like radio towers, sending signals out to all around us, and we're all affected by that frequency, the vibrational energy of our consciousness. Really, it's a real thing. We all pick up each other's vibe, and we're all affected by it. So, and vice versa, if your goal wasn't devotional service, your goal wasn't love of God, then say your goal was to, make a ton of money, then by all means, the association of worldly-minded people would be beneficial for that goal. So it's all about what is your goal? What is it you hope to achieve? And the instructions here of disassociating with fruitive people is so that we can help benefit that spiritual goal of life, which is, of course, the ultimate goal. And Prabhupada gives some more examples about working in devotion. Oh, sorry, my foot fell asleep very fiercely. Hold on. Ooh, whoa. Switch legs. He says, as far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to God-conscious activities. Yes, ideally, right? No work should be done by any man except in relationship to God. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the result of his work. The result should be done for him. And I've said before in class, this is very liberating. It doesn't matter the results. So you work very hard, and usually we want to see results. We want to, have that good feeling that we did a good job or we accomplished this or that. But that's not actually the mindset in devotion, because whether the result is supposedly good or supposedly bad, or is high or low, good, meek or great, it doesn't matter. For a devotee, the point is to be engaged in service that's pleasing to God. And whatever comes from that, whatever result is brought about by your work in devotion, the devotee is unattached to it. Takes his hands off of it. As Mother Tasha said, take your sticky fingers off of it. The results are always unto God. And this is very freeing. So it doesn't matter what happens at the end of the day. You just do the work. It's very simple. It's very freeing, actually. That can mitigate all your anxieties. You don't have to worry about what happens. Just do. Just serve. And that is pleasing. He goes on to say, for example, one may be engaged in business. But to transform that activity into devotional consciousness, one has to do business for God. If God is the proprietor of the business, then God should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to God, he can do it. This is work for God. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to God. Now, let me clarify a bit. Now, offering money to God, yes, God isn't, holding out his divine, effulgent hand saying, gimme, gimme. That's not what it means here. Nor is it saying, go and appease all of those, fruitive prosperity preachers saying, give me your money, and you'll be rich. No. How you use your money for God conscious, in God consciousness, is to employ it in such a way that serves the Lord's mission and serves the mission of his servants. And the greatest use of any resources is to help propagate God's message, to help spread the knowledge of devotional service by which we may all come home to him. So usually, and this is actually in Bhagavad-Gita, another part, so it's called charity in the mode of goodness, where you give in charity to the proper recipient in a selfless mood, wanting nothing in return. And the proper recipient, of course, is qualified as one who is engaged in God's service. So you, in Vedic times, you give charity to the Brahmins, who were the priestly class, right? And the Brahmins, in olden days when they were very pure, not like today, so-called Brahmins, they would know what's best to use with all the gifts, all of the money, all of the charity they receive, and they would usually distribute it among society where they knew that there was lack. Because they themselves were not greedy, they would only take just little things what they needed, and the rest would be dispersed or used to propagate God consciousness. So the best person to give money to, if you want to donate money for God conscious activities or to please the Lord, is to donate to the Lord's servants. Donate to devotees who are engaged in devotional service, because they will do good things with it. And they might not even accept what you offer if you offer too much. I've seen Mother Atasha turn away money. It's like, no, we can't handle that much money. You can give something smaller, We got this many projects, and this is all we need for this. And so, again, they won't keep any excess. The devotees are very, simple living, high thinking. They just use everything in service, They'll print books, print books, basically. Spread the message more. That's pretty much what they'll do. Buy food, offer it to the Lord, spread the prasad, distribute the soul food to purify the masses, things like that. All good things that really benefit everybody. So when you donate to someone engaged in the service of the Lord's servants, they will employ everything, of course, in the best way possible, that is bringing about the ultimate benefit for all. Speaking of what I just said, Prabhupada says one should also accept as food the remnants of offerings to God. This is another form of devotional consciousness, not eating or tasting anything unless it's first offered to the Lord. This is God-conscious activities, it's devotional service. Also says one can cultivate a garden. Anyone who has land can utilize that for God by growing flowers to offer him, which we're actually doing right here, trying to grow fruits, flowers, and vegetables that we can offer to the Lord. I'm not much of a farmer. My wife likes the gardening. I'd rather do other things, but because I'm doing it and with a consciousness to serve the Lord, okay, it's devotional service. I'll work hard. We're working hard today in the garden. So, Mother Atasha said, we organize our life to be in service. We work and get money. How to use that money in service. That's what the mindset is. How to use things properly for the pleasure of God. Anything that comes to us, how to engage it in service. So it's a mental view in life. My good friend Yeti is here. We met each other from playing video games. And for the longest time, because I've had this knowledge, I've wondered how could I somehow dovetail my gaming in a devotional manner. And after years, I realized there's no way. Just like, who am I kidding? And eventually I realized that I lost the taste for it anyways. So, as devotees, we make God the supreme goal in life. Also, we have small goals. What I want to do, what we want to achieve here and there. And if something isn't helpful to our goal, we don't take it up. But ultimately, we have that supreme goal in mind, the long game. So, my wife and I have a whiteboard. We have on the top is our ultimate goal, which is spiritual realization, love of God. And then we have our next primary goals in life, things like, preaching, doing the charity work, managing the nonprofit, things like that. And then we have our own little smaller tertiary goals, like, be fit, get in shape, work on these, learning new skills, new instruments to play, things like that, little small goals. But always keep the big picture in mind. All right, in the next part, it says, who is friendly to every living entity. So, being friends with everyone. The tree whose job is to just give fruit to all. Give the spiritual knowledge. This is what it means being a friend to all. Not like, buddy, hey, how's it going? Which, is part of that too. But to be a true well-wisher means you don't want another to suffer. You want to alleviate them or help them no longer suffer in life. And devotee who has knowledge that the cure for suffering is God, is love, makes their mission in life the giving of the knowledge which frees us from suffering. This is being the true well-wisher, the true friend. And here's some more notes from Prabhupada. He says, a devotee of God is friendly to everyone. Therefore it is said here that he has no enemy. How is this? A devotee knows that only devotional service, which he himself is situated in, can relieve a person from all the problems of life. He has personal experience of this, and therefore he wants to introduce this system into human society. There are many examples in history of devotees of the Lord risking their lives for spreading of God consciousness. The favorite example is Lord Jesus Christ. He was crucified by the non-devotees, but he sacrificed his life for spreading God consciousness. Of course, it would be superficial to understand that he was killed. Similarly, in India also there are many examples such as Thakur Haridas. And why such risk? Because they wanted to spread God consciousness. And it is difficult. A God-conscious person knows that if a man is suffering, it is due to his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with God. Therefore, the highest benefit one can render to human society is relieving one's neighbor from all material problems. In such a way, a pure devotee is engaged in the service of the Lord. Now we can imagine how merciful God is to those engaged in his service, risking everything for him. Therefore it is certain that such persons must reach the supreme abode after leaving the body. As it says here in the verse, certainly comes to me, the Lord promises. So, devotional service, as much as these processes or practices we engage in, it's a mood. It's a conscious state of being. The mood of offering nice things to God, of serving, the mood of using everything in how to serve. There's not a lot of real love, real giving in this world. Be wary to accept gifts even. And amongst other devotees, on the level of sharing, receiving is just as important as giving too. And I know I'm going over a bit, apologies, but final notes. Prabhupada also says that the word mat paramaha, this Sanskrit part of the verse, refers to one who considers the association of God in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. He has no attraction for reaching any other destination. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And the pure devotee, however, does not even want salvation. He does not want to be transferred even to the highest abode of the Lord. His only objective is to serve God, wherever he may be. Jai. Okay, let me pause there. 1 second. All right. Does anyone have any questions, perchance? I just realized I see laundry hanging on the clothesline reflected in the window behind me. Yes. Very practical. Solar. No, don't worry about it. It's fine. And welcome new friend, Tuni. Hope I'm saying that right. Oh, what's that? Okay. Oh, your voice sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, you just changed your Discord name. Okay, welcome back, brother. Okay. You good? Oh, you have a question? Okay. Anyone perchance have a question related to this verse or any of the commentary we heard from Mother Atasha and Bhaktivedanta Swami? Yes?
Yeah, in the middle of the class, no, at the beginning of class. At the beginning of class, you were reading that our goal is, then I couldn't hear perfectly what you were saying.
Our goal?
Yes. One part you were saying our goal is, then you said something I couldn't hear.
I don't recall exactly, but probably the goal would be love of God.
Okay,
to reach God. Sounds fitting.
Yeah, I couldn't hear that.
Or perhaps it was that, the first comment by Bhaktivedanta Swami was, anyone who wants to approach the Supreme Lord and be intimately connected with him must take this formula. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad-Gita. So basically, take this verse to heart, employ it in your life best you can. Engage in pure devotional service, free from fruitive activities, mental speculation. Be the friend to all. And actually, in the Religion of Love book, in the Promise of God, this is actually outlined as the 6 simple steps to enlightenment. Hearing, chanting, remembering, giving up fruitive activities, being free from mental speculation, standing in the truth, and being the friend to all, sharing the message with others. This basic, actually, funny enough, that actually is this verse. Funny enough, I'm now connecting that dot. But yes, that is God's promise. If you wholeheartedly and faithfully engage in this process, certainly you will come home to Him.
By being a friend and friendly to all, except sharing the message and being vegetarian, not be cruel to others. What else we can do to be friendly to all?
Being friend to all means become a preacher. Live the message and give the message. Live it and give it. And of course, let go of the results and let God. Live it, give it, let go, and let God. Mother Atasha taught this. She said, slap that on a bumper sticker. That's what it means to be the friend to all. And of course, the best way we preach is by we be the living example of what we're preaching. We preach more by our life, who we are, than by our words. And if you have opportunity to give knowledge, or even better, give a book which contains all of that knowledge, you're truly one's well-wisher, because we know that this knowledge, this process of devotional service, is the only means by which we can free ourselves from all suffering, the cycle of birth and death, to come back home to God. Legs keep falling asleep. Any questions or comments, brother? I know Meet you caught up with us a little later. Anything on your mind? Feel free. Nope. Everyone good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right then. Then all glories to Mother Atasha, all glories to religion of love, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to the Bhagavad-Gita, and all glories to our Supreme Lord. Jai.